Hey everyone, John here! And the Nintendo Switch 2 is now 3/4 of a year old, 9 months. And in the last just month or two, I think it's actually received some pretty console-defining games. And that's an issue it had for maybe the first couple of months, but now it's in a really cool place. And I have a pretty decent collection of physical games, a pretty decent collection of digital games, so I feel like I've played enough to now form my 10 favorite ones. But before we do, first, a word from our sponsor.
This message is sponsored by Raycon. Spring has nearly sprung, and it's the best time of year to start getting active again. Whether you're getting back into fitness or just trying to get some more steps into your day like I am, it helps to have a great set of headphones that fit seamlessly into how you move. Ever since I got them, I've been a huge fan of Raycon's bone conduction headphones. They help me stay connected to what's going on around me while listening to my favorite music, podcasts, or even videos like this one. And thanks to their no-bud design, 13-hour battery life, and IP68 waterproof and dustproof rating, that means I can take them with me wherever I go, whether I'm on the treadmill, going for a walk, or even just working. The best part? Raycon offers a 30-day happiness guarantee. So if you don't like them, you can return them, no questions asked. If you're anything like me though, you're gonna love them. Give them a try and you'll see what I mean. Just head over to buyraycon.com/GVGBC to get 20% off your own bone conduction headphones today and support us in the process. That's buyraycon.com/GVGBC. Thanks again to Raycon for sponsoring today's video.
Thank you very much. Now, my 10th favorite game first begins with another game. So this isn't my number 10 pick, but Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment is a really cool game, giving you more of Tears of the Kingdom story. It runs at 60 frames per second, so way better than Age of Calamity, and I think all in all, it's a fun game. I really enjoyed it, but my 10th favorite game is actually Dynasty Warriors Origins. This feels like a true current generation Dynasty Warriors. The crowds are absolutely massive. You can ride around an arena on horseback. There's a really cool 3D overworld that you can freely roam around. This just seems to do a lot more than what Age of Imprisonment does. And it's one of the most impressive Switch 2 ports on the entire console. Put this side by side with PS5, and there really aren't that many differences, especially from a gameplay perspective. The crowds are still just as massive. It's just one of the coolest ports in the entire console, and something I feel like shouldn't be overlooked. And so if you enjoyed Age of Imprisonment, do move on to Dynasty Warriors, the core series, as well. Now, my number 9th pick definitely isn't as solid as a port. There's some issues with it, especially when it comes to hitting 60 frames per second, but it is Hitman World of Assassination. I didn't really play the current generation of Hitman. I played the classic ones on PS2 and Xbox, but when it comes to Hitman 1, 2, and 3, for some reason I avoided them. I don't know why. But then I played them at Switch 2 launch, and man, this is really, really great, especially as a handheld mode title. So there's two options. There's a 30 frames per second option, which got patched in later. That's absolutely fine. And then there's also an unlocked 60, which doesn't really hit it most of the time. In handheld with VRR, it does feel pretty good, and it's also really impressive with the crowd density. This was one of the first times I was impressed by Switch 2 hardware, just seeing all these crowds on a handheld screen. It was far and away better than anything I'd seen on Switch 1. And the core gameplay is just so fun. Being able to take all these missions any way you want. There are downsides to the online integration because some items don't save unless you're playing online. So you're sometimes punished a bit for playing this outside of an internet connection, but it is still perfectly playable offline. And I've played this on train journeys a whole bunch. Really, really enjoyed Hitman. So not the best port in the world, but a really cool way to play Hitman, regardless. Now, this one is something I've been waiting for, because there's a lot of subscription services out there. There's Xbox, there's PlayStation, there's Switch, there's Netflix, there's Disney. It goes on forever, and you can't be expected to pay them all at once, otherwise you're just throwing money away. So for me, I only really pay for Switch Online. Everything else I pay for, even when I need it. Switch Online's the only constant one, because it's so cheap. I'm in a family plan for the expansion pass, and I pay basically like £7 a year for the entire thing. And so Street Fighter 6 is an awesome Switch 2 port. The cheapest way to play online on a console. I know PC's free. But to the accessibility of just throwing this on a handheld system, docking it if you want to, taking it out and playing with friends via LAN or in tabletop mode, like, this just feels like a truly uncompromised Street Fighter 6 with all the benefits of being on a handheld. It truly does. Like, when you put it side by side with Xbox or PS5, it doesn't look that different. Small resolution downgrade, but not by much. And the actual visual quality of everything just looks like Street Fighter 6. It really is just an extraordinary port, and my favorite way of playing Street Fighter 6, mostly because of the cheap online. Now, my next pick is one of the two premium indies right now, and I'd say they come down to Hollow Knight and Hades, and I've chosen Hades. Not because I don't like Silksong, I do really enjoy Silksong. It was a crazy game with a whole lot of stuff in there. But I did feel like I'd done a lot of it before in the first Hollow Knight. Recontextualizing areas, but it didn't push the innovation out there as much as I'd like. And while Hades 2 is also quite an iterative game, I found the art style and the gameplay shifts and the new roster of characters and everything else just to feel a bit more fresh than the first game compared to Hollow Knight and Silksong. And playing this 120 Hz is just a beautiful experience. So this has become one of my favorite games on the Switch too, and it's incredibly addictive, very hard to put down, and I truly do love this game. Now, my number 6th pick is one I can't hold physically, because I, much like most Switch 2 users, got this for free, quote-unquote, with their console, and that is Mario Kart World. And it's been an interesting one to watch unfold over the last few months. Because many people claim they returned to Mario Kart 8, many people claim they didn't love this game. I do love this game. All it had to be for me is a new Mario Kart, because we've gone like 12 years since Mario Kart 8 on the Wii U. I've been playing that game for a long time now. All I needed was better visuals, new tracks. But this one, it gives you the parkour system on top of that. And there's two different kinds of players, much like in like a 3D Mario, right? Like, you can jump around, or you can triple jump and long jump and backflip and do all those moves. If you try and approach Mario Kart World that way, you're going to open up a whole new realm of possibilities. Parkouring around, jumping, doing tricks. Like, it doesn't seem like much for a lot of these shortcuts, but they do add up, much like doing a mini turbo around a corner. It's just an extension of the gameplay and really makes it feel like a new level of skill ceiling. Those who don't want to engage with that can still rubber band with better items and all that, but it's just so fun to properly use the parkour. And I like the open world as well. I got every single mission in the game. It was like a big Mario Kart DS mission mode, which is one of my favorite parts of any Mario Kart. So I loved the world. Loved it so much that I'm slamming things. And my number 5 pick is something that probably would have been a number 1 a couple of months ago, but a few games have released since that have toppled it for me, and that is Donkey Kong Bananza, which is an extraordinary game. Bananza is so clever. It's got that intelligence that only a EPD game really has. It uses so much, or it gets so much out of its very limited pool. So Donkey Kong doesn't have all the platforming prowess of Mario in 3D, but he can get a chunk of terrain and use that to chunk jump, or he can use the terrain as like an umbrella to shield him from lava. It really does do so much with the little that it gives you, and just unleashes one of the most free-feeling 3D platformers I've ever played. The ending is absolutely phenomenal. It's just a wonderful game, but as time has gone on, I don't think I've thought about it in quite the same way as I would a Mario Odyssey or a Mario Galaxy. Great game, and a fantastic transition to 3D for Donkey Kong. I know 64 happened, but for the first time in decades, and I really have loved this game. Now, my next pick is a very new one, and that is Resident Evil Requiem, this one right here. And this is one of the first times on Switch 2 where a game is launched day and date with the other consoles. And I've gone with the Switch 2 version, and it just felt normal. Like, I played Resident Evil Village and 4 on PS5, so I know the standard of quality. And playing Requiem, it just looked like that. It just looked like I was playing the PS5 quality games on my tiny little tablet. And when you put Requiem side by side with like Series S, it is another league in terms of image quality. It looks fantastic. And yeah, the frame rate could be more stable than it is, but it is hitting around 60 FPS, and it does look absolutely brilliant. If you were to put this side by side with PS5 and Series X and PC, like if you're going for the ray trace like PS5 Pro version, like yeah, there are going to be differences. But in the moment, when you don't have that side by side comparison and you just see what it is, it still looks stunning. Not by Switch 2 standards, not by a compromise standard, it just looks stunning. It's a beautiful game, and it made the Switch 2 feel like a PS5. So I was blown away by the port quality, but the game itself is just brilliant too. It is a merge of Resident Evil 7's scary and slow gameplay for Grace, and then Leon is like Resident Evil 4 mixed with like Resident Evil 6. It's about as actiony as the series has been in around a decade, and it's really fun to balance the extremes of horror with the catharsis of action. Really cool mix, and just celebrates the entire franchise with a lot of fan service. So I absolutely loved Resident Evil Requiem. Now, my number 3 pick is another really new one, and that is Mario Tennis Fever. Not everybody, I feel, really gave this one a chance because there are weaknesses. The single player, not particularly good. The adventure mode in particular, kind of boring, but then you've also got a bunch of other modes you can play, but it's not really about the modes for me. It is the core gameplay. I am someone who played Mario Tennis Aces for like 300 hours, and Fever is giving me that same burst again. There are so many layers to the gameplay, because tennis is already a very improv-heavy game. It's about trying to read your opponent's play style, trying to react to what they're doing, trying to throw them off. And then you add Fever Rackets, which are just these power-ups that you can have so many different combinations of. And the fact that you can parry somebody's Fever ability back to them opens up another layer where it's now a risk to use your power in case it backfires against you. So there's so many mind games going on in Fever. And it's the best Mario Tennis has ever been, in my opinion. I've really loved this. I love it more than most games on the Switch 2 right now, including Mario Kart World. Like, this is my favorite Mario game the system has right now. So I love Fever a lot. Now, when it comes to my next pick, I was a bit disappointed by this one here, Dragon Quest VII. It is a visually spectacular game, but I think it's a bit cowardly in what it went to do. It was trying to fix up Dragon Quest VII and ended up not really appealing to the fans of Dragon Quest VII and feeling too simplified for non-fans. It just didn't really please any avenues, in my opinion. While it's fine, but it's not particularly great. However, Dragon Quest 1+2 HD 2D shocked me. Dragon Quest III, which got a Switch 2 patch, was very basic. It's a great game. Dragon Quest III has always been great, but it's a basic remake. Just one-to-one recreates the NES version. These are reimaginings. Dragon Quest 1 in this, I think, is pretty good. Dragon Quest 2, though, that's a new game. That's like Dragon Quest 12 tier of new game. It's got like the towns and the concepts of Dragon Quest 2, but everything in between is totally different. The pacing of the world, a fourth party member, new events, combat balancing, every single aspect of this game does not resemble the NES version. You've got just a new Dragon Quest. And not only is it a new Dragon Quest, it's one of the best Dragon Quests. I'm ranking this thing up there with 5, 11, 8, 9. I think it's that kind of quality. And I don't even like Vanilla 2 that much. That's somewhere in the back of the series for me. But this remake just did so much with what it had. And it's one of those rare instances of taking a flawed game and making it truly exceptional. So I absolutely adored my time with that one. Alright, now on to the final game. And there have still been plenty of Switch 2 games I've really enjoyed. I mean, the Cyberpunk port is exceptional. Fantasy Life is a really cool game. I think I associate it a little bit more with Switch 1, but it's still a great Switch 2 version. Kirby Air Riders didn't feel like it would ever happen. Really cool on Switch 2. Persona 3 Reload got a few patches, and now it's an excellent Switch 2 version. But I think all of those, maybe I don't associate so much with the system, or maybe they don't quite make my personal top 10. But this one is an absolute no-brainer. It is the newest game, but it's also, obviously, in my opinion, the best game. And that is Pokemon Pokopia. What else could it be? You put this in, you play for a couple of hours, and it's immediately obvious just how good it is. And if you go online, you can see just how it's selling the system. I'm seeing so many, like women in particular, buying Switch 2s just for this game. Instagram is full of it, Twitter is full of it, YouTube, Bluesky, all of them are just packed with Pokopia and waves of people buying a Switch 2 just for this game. And some of my favorite games of the last generation were the Dragon Quest Builders games, 1 and 2. And this is just another one of those. It's Dragon Quest Builders without the combat and a hell of a lot cozier. My wife is crazy into this game. She's played it just as much, if not more, than me. And it is so hard to put down because there's just always something else to do. You finish one town, and then you go on to the next town, and you finish an objective, and then there's another objective, and then you want to build your town up, and once you've done that, you've got new materials. You want to see what those materials do. You do another objective, you get a new recipe. It is a constant loop of giving you more things. This is one of the most complete games I've seen in a long, long time. And I'm still playing through the story. I'm on, I think, the last town at the moment. But once I've done with that, the game's not over. The game's only a beginning at that point. Once you finish the story and you've got all the main recipes, you can then just start living your life in Pokopia, making a town. You can do it in Pallet Town, or you can go to make your Cloud Town with friends. And the coolest part about that is it's a shared town. You can play it regardless of whether anyone else is online. You can just build a society with 4 other people, whether they're doing it all at once or whether one's offline, one's online. It doesn't matter. It's so dreamlike. Like, this kind of game doesn't feel like it should exist. It just does everything perfectly. And I think it is far and away the best game on Switch 2 right now. Can't think of anything that comes close. And 5 years from now, 6 years from now, I still don't know if that's going to be the case. This makes a really strong contender for just one of the best games of its kind. I can't think of anything else that really comes quite close to this. So I've been adoring Pokopia. And if you're looking for any Switch 2 game to play, like anything that is trying to like push you over the edge on whether you should buy a console or not, it's this. It's absolutely this. It's probably more this than it is the next main Pokemon, than Winds and Waves. This feels just more special right now. Just something that just does more with its genre than it could possibly do. Absolutely adore Pokopia. But those are my top 10 Switch 2 games as of right now. I've had such a good time with this console. As a father, it's quite hard to get time to play in the living room on the TV. And so it was becoming more and more rare that I'd get to devote myself hours and hours and hours to a PlayStation 5 game because it's so static in one place hooked to a TV. Switch 2, in these last 9 months, I've played more than I have in years and years and years. I've just been really loving this console. And while it's taken until around now for it to really have those defining games, even in those slower periods, I was still always having something to play. And it was always something that was big. Like, whether it's Persona 3, whether it's Dynasty Warriors, whether it's Yakuza, there are these really desirable games that just play more flexibly on Switch 2. So I do like this console a lot, and it's really come into its own. And over the course of the next year, that's only going to change more and more. I'm sure a lot of this top 10 will be very shifted around by that point. But let me know what your top 10 Switch 2 games are, and I will catch you next time. Bye-bye, everyone.